When a steak lands on the table, it can seem almost too simple to think about. A cut of beef, a little salt, intense heat, and a few minutes of cooking. That is the moment diners judge. They cut into it, taste it, and decide whether it was worth the price. But the most important part of that steak may have happened hours, days, or even weeks earlier. It may have been selected from a higher grade of beef, held under strict conditions, aged with care, cut to a restaurant's exact preference, and moved through an overnight delivery system before the kitchen ever saw it. The steak on the plate is only the visible ending. So perhaps the real secret of a great restaurant steak is not what happens on the grill, but everything that happens before it ever gets there. Let's get into it right here on Secrets of Simple Things. The chef is only the final step. Most people think a good steak begins with the chef. That is understandable, because the chef is the last person we see before the plate reaches the table. But that common way of thinking is also incomplete. The kitchen is not the beginning of the story. It is the final stage in a much longer chain of decisions. Before the meat ever meets fire, someone has already chosen what grade of beef is worth buying, decided how it should be stored, determined whether it should be dry-aged, cut it to the thickness and shape a restaurant wants, and made sure it arrives exactly when the kitchen needs it. A chef can still ruin a steak, but a chef cannot create all of its quality from nothing. The chef reveals quality that was already built into the meat. That means a restaurant steak is not one act of skill. It is many acts of precision lined up in the right order. And once you see that, the story has to begin much earlier, with the first decision most diners never notice: what beef gets chosen in the first place. A steak is already becoming itself before it is cut. Not every piece of beef enters a restaurant kitchen with the same potential. That difference begins long before seasoning, searing, or plating. High-end suppliers do not buy beef with the simple logic that beef is beef. They look for higher grades, often USDA Prime and Choice, because those cuts are more likely to carry the marbling that matters most. Those thin white veins of intramuscular fat are not just visual appeal. They help shape whether a steak feels tender or resistant, juicy or dry, rich or flat. Marbling melts as the steak cooks, and that slow rendering changes both texture and flavor from within. In other words, one of the biggest differences between an ordinary steak and a memorable one has already been built into the meat before anyone turns on a broiler or lights a grill. That is why selection is not a background detail. It is the foundation. It defines what the kitchen can work with and what it can never fully fix later. A talented chef can season well, sear well, and finish well, but no amount of skill can turn the wrong raw material into the right eating experience. When diners cut into a steak and feel it yield easily, they are tasting the result of a choice made much earlier by someone they will never meet. But even a well-chosen cut is not always ready yet. For certain steaks, selection is only the beginning. Time still has work to do. Some flavor has to be waited for. For many premium steaks, the next step is dry aging. This is where the story becomes less intuitive, because people often assume freshness is always the highest form of quality. But with steak, controlled time can deepen what fresh meat has not fully become yet. In a dry aging room, temperature and humidity have to be kept within a very narrow range. In the video, the room is held at about 36 degrees Fahrenheit and 80% humidity. Too warm, and the meat can spoil. Too cold, and it can freeze. Get the balance wrong, and flavor is not refined. Value is destroyed. Inside the right conditions, moisture slowly evaporates. Muscle structure changes. Flavor concentrates. Time is not simply passing here, it is actively reshaping the meat. Some of the water leaves, so what remains tastes denser and more focused. The texture also shifts as the meat gradually becomes more tender. That helps explain why a restaurant steak can taste deeper, fuller, and more complex than a standard cut bought for an ordinary meal. Some of its character was developed before cooking ever began. That richness is not just the result of heat, it is the result of patience under control. Dry aging is not about letting meat sit around, it is about creating the conditions in which time can do useful work. Yet aging alone does not decide what finally reaches the plate. The meat still has to be turned into the exact steak a restaurant wants to serve. Before the grill, there is the butcher's hand. After selection and aging comes a step that sounds simple but is anything but portioning. At first glance, it may seem like little more than cutting meat into smaller pieces. But this is where a steak begins to take on its final identity. It is shaped for a restaurant and a menu. Thickness matters, shape matters, the placement of fat matters, even the balance of the cut matters, because all of that affects how the steak cooks, how evenly it browns, how it rests, and how it looks when it reaches the table. This is why portioning is less like rough preparation and more like design. Different tools serve different purposes. A boning knife does one kind of work. A scimitar helps with the final slicing across the steak. A bandsaw is used for bone-in cuts or high-volume work, and in the video, only master butchers are trusted with it. That trust is earned slowly. The owner says there are basically no butcher schools, and that they do not find butchers so much as make them. It can take years before someone is ready for every task. That matters because a steak that looks balanced and cooks beautifully did not arrive that way by luck. Before the chef ever touches it, the butcher has already shaped the conditions for success. The plate may later make the steak look effortless, but the effort has already been built into its form. The overnight race most diners never notice. Even that is still not the whole story. A perfectly chosen and perfectly cut steak means very little if it does not arrive where it needs to be, exactly when it needs to be there. And this is where the steak becomes something more than an ingredient. It becomes part of a logistical race. Many restaurants place orders after dinner service ends, then expect the meat the next morning. That means large suppliers begin work when most customers are going to bed. In the video, the shifts start around 6 p.m. and continue through the night. While the city seems quiet, meat is still being pulled from storage, portioned, packed, loaded onto trucks, and sent out before dawn. Some local kitchens can receive deliveries only a few hours after ordering. What diners experience as freshness is often the result of an invisible relay run on a tight clock. This changes the meaning of the steak on the plate. It is no longer just a cooked piece of beef. It is the visible end of a sequence: selection, storage, aging, cutting, packing, transport, arrival. A meal that seems still and self-contained at the table is actually the result of constant movement. By the time the steak finally reaches the kitchen, so much of its story has already happened. The calm of the dining room depends on work done elsewhere, overnight, by people the customer will never know. Cooking reveals what the system has already built. That does not reduce the chef's role. It clarifies it. Salt still matters, heat still matters, timing still matters. So does doneness, and so does the discipline of letting the steak rest before slicing it. In the video, one chef explains that a properly rested steak should reabsorb its juices so that little is left on the board when it is cut. That simplicity is revealing. The final stage often looks minimal, not because the work is small, but because so much of the real work has already been done. The chef, then, is not beginning the steak's quality from zero. The chef is translating earlier work into a final experience. A great steak on the plate is the meeting point of good selection, controlled aging, skilled butchering, exact timing, and then cooking that knows how not to damage what previous hands have already built. The grill is not the full origin of the steak. It is the final reveal. It turns hidden preparation into aroma, texture, color, and taste. A steak is not simple. It only arrives looking simple. So the next time a steak is placed in front of you, it may be worth seeing more than the final image. What looks like a simple dish is actually the end of a long and precise sequence. Grade, marbling, temperature, humidity, knives, training, timing, delivery, resting. None of those things appear directly on the plate, yet all of them are there in effect. They have already done their work before the first bite begins. That is why a great steak does not truly begin in the kitchen. It begins when the right beef is chosen, when time is allowed to deepen it, when a butcher cuts it with purpose, and when a quiet overnight system gets it to the right place at the right moment. Cooking matters, but it matters as the last act of something larger. And perhaps that is the broader pattern hidden inside this familiar meal. Many things in life look simple only when we meet them at the end. The complexity has already taken place elsewhere, out of sight, in preparation, coordination, and care. Its simplicity is often only the polished surface of hidden labor. What we call a delicious steak is not just a dish, it is a system working correctly. Next time a steak lands on the table, you might not see just a piece of meat anymore. You might see selection, time, skill, and an entire invisible system working behind it. If this video changed the way you look at something as familiar as steak, subscribe to Secrets of Simple Things for more stories hiding inside ordinary things.